Happy Friday, everyone. And with just 2 days away from the T show, or the Transgender Erotic Awards show, I decided it would be a great way to tell you how I became a porn star. This is one of the questions you asked me from last season, so I'm so glad I can answer it, especially seeing as the award show is just a couple of days away. With such a long career, I had about 10 solid years in the industry. I had an amazing time. My story really begins when I met Danielle Fox. She recruited me to do my first trans scene here in Los Angeles. Danielle Fox was also a performer at the time. Since then, she's retired, but she was amazing, gorgeous, and coached me through my first trans scene. I had a couple of years experience previously in the gay adult industry, so transferring over, it was fairly simple. You know, I was young in my transition, so it took a lot of coaching to get polished. And she was really helpful, and she saw the potential and really pushed me and gave me great advice on things I could do, a couple tips and tricks on how to navigate the industry. So she really helped. So I was living here in LA, and I moved to San Francisco about, I think it was a year, my first or second year in the trans industry, and I started working for kink.com. When I started working for Kink is when my career really started to explode, because not only was I one of the pretty light-skinned black girls, but I was a black girl doing BDSM, and the fans were eating it out of my hands. So in the trans industry, it's very rare to see black trans women, especially black trans dominant women. So I had a huge following with black T-girls, with kink.com, and I was pretty much the token black girl in a lot of movies, or for a lot of companies. I had producers coming up to me and telling me, you know, we don't really shoot black girls, but we shoot girls like you, basically saying that because I was light-skinned, pretty, that they would shoot me. So with my fan base growing, I really was able to travel, and I was able to make some great connections, meet some amazing people. I was able not only to travel here within the States, but because kink.com and their fan base was international, I was traveling overseas, and I was traveling out of the country. And it was such an amazing opportunity, so humbling, because these are things that I never thought I was gonna do. I was living in Watts a couple years before that, broke, going to school, didn't know, you know, what I was gonna do with my life. And now here I am traveling all over the country and internationally, and I'm making some great money and meeting amazing people. So it really took my life to the next level. The dark side of the industry that no one really talks about is the dangers of contracting an STD. Yes, testing has become more regulated and more strict, but you know, people are working outside of the industry. They're escorting, you know, they have partners outside of the relationship. So honestly, you never know what you're walking into. The other thing is that goes along with like escorting is the danger of violence. I remember several of my girlfriends, knock on wood, I have been so blessed to not really have too many scary experiences, but I know several of my girlfriends who have been robbed. A couple people I've known have gotten beat up, arrested. So there's definitely a dark side. A huge thing that also plays into this industry is drugs, depression, and alcohol. And it seems so related. Like, the more drugs you do, the more depressed you are. The more depressed you are, the more drugs you do to self-medicate. And there's no real help, or these performers aren't really reaching out for help. So you see a lot of suicides, and you see a lot of people getting into these addictions and spiraling out of control. So it's really a dark, sad side that kind of gets swept under the rug, under the glamour, under the fantasy that no one likes to talk about, but it's always there. But my experience as a whole was fairly positive. I had a couple negative experiences. One with the producer who wanted me to do favors for him, basically interact with him in a way that was super inappropriate for my standard. And I had to set that boundary, like, look, I'm not gonna do this. And if you're gonna continue this way, I'm gonna walk off set. And, he backed off and we finished the shoot. And then I went to his boss and was like, look, if you want me to work for your company, I'm never working with this photographer again, because it was a traumatic experience. No one should have to be treated like that. So it worked out. I ended up working with another producer, but to this day, that photographer still shoots for the company. And I won't be messy and put out any names. But like I said, overall, it was a good experience, very humbling. I learned so much about myself, how to manage my finances, how to embrace my sexuality, how to be comfortable in my sexuality, because as a trans girl, the stereotype is you're only attracted to men, which for me wasn't always true, because I was attracted to guys, I was attracted to girls, as well as trans guys and girls. So I was in a spectrum way beyond what most of my social circle kind of was in. And also being in the BDSM scene, I felt like it was hard to connect with my friends. So it was something that, I didn't really talk about with them, but I expanded my circle, got to educate my friends, and even help them in their sex lives. Like, they would come to me for advice on like how they can spice things up. And so that was kind of fun. But overall, great experience. At one point, I also recognized that I had a certain amount of privilege. As a light-skinned Black girl, I felt that I had to speak up against these companies who are only shooting mostly like Caucasian performers, or would do whole movies with the whole Caucasian cast. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I also think that there should be more inclusion of minorities. Hispanic, Latin, Black, Asian, Indian, there has to be more. But these producers think that only white is gonna sell, or white is their top selling. So it's what it is. But for those of my honeybees who follow me and see my social media posts over the last couple years, I've definitely been so vocal about that, and like have pushed for more performers of color, more trans women of color. And so I recognize that, and I hope I was able to enlighten some producers. But if not, hey, what can I do? It's their business. For anyone turning to sex work, I would honestly say, set some boundaries, know your limits, and stand firm in them. Also, there's nothing wrong with asking for more money. Producers are oftentimes going to lowball you, or say like, oh, this is our set rate, this is what we pay every performer. Don't feel bad for asking more money if you feel you deserve it, or if that's what your booking rate is, because I've done that with producers. They'll be like, oh, this is what we're going to pay you. And I'm like, actually, this is my booking fee if you want to work with me. If not, you don't have to. So I mean, don't make it like a ridiculous amount of money, but there's nothing wrong with asking for more money or trying to negotiate a booking fee. Don't be afraid to say no. And I say that because it's okay to say no. If it's a hard limit for you, say no. And at the end of my career, I was just like, I'm not bottoming, period, point blank. Like, no, it's off the table. And so I think you make sure, set your boundaries, stand your ground. There's nothing wrong with that. My last piece of advice would be just to have a thick skin. There's going to be some internet trolls, nasty comments, and not everyone is going to love you. So go into it knowing that, because I remember when I first started, that was so hurtful, reading the comments on some of the websites and, watching some of the movies and just reading some of the nasty things that people say. People can be really mean online. So definitely have a thick skin, and just know that, you know, for every one that doesn't like you, 5 more do, or whatnot. Like, just know that you're amazing just the way you are. Don't change to try and fit those comments, because it's gonna be a cycle of violence. Like, so just be who you are, be true to yourself, set those boundaries. Don't be afraid to negotiate a booking fee. And at the end of the day, it's a job. Take it seriously. Show up on time, be professional. Don't miss your shoot, you know, don't miss your flights if they're flying you out. Come prepared, bring extra outfits. Always be one step ahead, because something goes wrong on every shoot. So at the end of the day, enjoy yourself. It's a fun industry. There are amazing people, and I wish you all the best. So until next time, guys, I love you. And to all my honeybees who have followed me on this crazy journey, thank you so much. It's been, well, it was an amazing 10-year career, and I'm still lucky to have your support. And I want to thank those here on YouTube who like and subscribe and comment on my videos. You guys are the real MVPs. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to continue this next journey. Thanks, guys. Bye.